So I'm looking at through the lens. I was a barber, and then in 2017, I decided that Bitcoin wasn't going away. I decided, I was like, yo, the stock price of AMD doubled for some reason. And the reason is because they made some off-market whatever chip that the Bitcoin miners really liked, because it helped save them in power and then money. Mm-hmm. But it didn't make anything better. It's just like the Bitcoin miners were like, yo, so everyone bought that chip and it doubled the stock price of AMD. And I was like, this ain't going away.
Right.
That's when it kind of, I was like, yo. So I scrounged up $2,000, and my strategy was to take all the low cap coins, something that's, if it's 1,000th of a penny and it goes to $1 kind of thing. That was just kind of like my mentality. Right. And so I put $100 on a bunch of different things. Most of it failed. But when Bitcoin went from like $10,000 or whatever to $20,000 that year in 2017, I had turned $2,000 into $20,000 just with the things that popped off. And I was like, okay. I'm sitting there watching it, and then I didn't understand anything about markets. And so like what comes up and then what goes down. So I'm going through barber school and I'm learning about dollar cost averaging. Right. I'm learning that everyone's trying to get me to trade, right? And then I'm learning about it, and I'm buying a little bit as I go. And finally, I had saved up a whole Bitcoin, and I had identified, who's an authority here, like who knows what they're talking about, who has ideas. And I come across Richard Hart's videos a couple times, but I didn't get what he was doing. He's like this, he looks like a vampire. That's what the dude looks like. He's wearing this like felt like velvet stuff all the time. He's all this like lush red stuff, and the candles and the throne that he's sitting there talking to us. And I'm like, I don't understand what this dude's trying to do to me. Like I don't get it, And but I did hear him make a bunch of statements, and I was like, he has an opinion. Okay, and anyone who's got any kind of like real serious opinion, I need to like give that credence to. But by late to by mid 2019, I had racked up a whole Bitcoin and some Bitcoin Cash and some Litecoin, some Ethereum, and I was laid up. I had injured my back. And I'm sitting there, I'm off of work I was working 60 hours a week at a barbershop. Mm-hmm. And so I had a week off where I'm just like going to relax. And here comes Richard Hart on the YouTube. It's a 4-hour live stream where it's just him talking to his fans, his 60,000 Twitter followers and all the things on YouTube. And I'm like, all right, here we go, 4 hours. Mm-hmm. So I got all the way through it. And then I realized that I only got about 10% of what the dude said. Mm-hmm. And I was like, yo, like, I didn't... So is that my fault or is that Richard Hart's fault? Because these ideas are up there, like they're up there. And so I put the video on again, and I played it through, and I got another 10%. Mm-hmm. And eventually I started to see what he's talking about and what he's pointing at. And the craziest thing about what he's pointing at is it's already locked immutable law in the HEX code. So the ideas that he's been talking about around Bitcoin, around cryptocurrency, around what needs to happen in this space has been enshrined in the HEX code, and the HEX code is about to bring it into reality. That's crazy. That's a crazy statement. Like the HEX code is about to kneecap Bitcoin in all of its weakest spots. Not just any spot, but its most vulnerable spots.
You're saying it's, in a sense, competing against Bitcoin? Or
I call it a reiteration of Bitcoin, because I saw, like, here's one example. The Bitcoin miners, right? This is one of his ideas. The Bitcoin miners, they mine Bitcoin. They don't buy Bitcoin, they sell Bitcoin. Okay, that's one distinction to think about, right? And they mine Bitcoin on these hardware things called ASIC miners. And the only thing these ASIC miners, they don't go and mine Litecoin, they don't mine Ethereum, they don't mine any other cryptocurrency. They're built and designed to only mine the hash SHA-256 algorithm of Bitcoin, right? And it's like, all right, but the minute that mining rig, which costs $3,000, and then has about a lifespan of about 6 to 8 months, right? And you have to buy it from some foreign country, they make it, turn it on for a week, and they make money, and then they ship it to you. And then by the time you get it, you turn it on, and the minute the thing starts using more electricity than it generates from Bitcoin, it's worthless. So what do? Do you sell it for cents on the dollar for maybe a nation state to start collecting and buying up so that they can, because this is what's securing the Bitcoin network. And whoever has all the hash power can eventually, like steer the blockchain and do things that are not good to the blockchain. And the blockchain is the first time in human history that we cannot go back and change the past. That's the power of a blockchain, right? It's the first time in human history where this happened. You can get married on the blockchain. You can put deeds on the blockchain. You can say anything you want to say on that Bitcoin blockchain, and it's there forever. And it would take, we're talking for 24 hours, to go back 24 hours on the blockchain would cost hundreds of millions of dollars of electricity and equipment. So kind of like fork it or whatever it's called and like orphan this. It's the weirdest thing. But that's what he's talking about. So the Bitcoin blockchain, the miners, they buy the Bitcoin, or they sell the Bitcoin to pay for electricity and mining equipment. They don't buy Bitcoin. And they have all the power. Right? I don't care how much Bitcoin you hold. You have no say-so in the network. The only thing that you can affect, is the price of Bitcoin if you're going to sell it or if you're going to buy it. So in HEX, the security of HEX is the Ethereum network secures it. Ethereum is more decentralized than Bitcoin, and it takes care of the security aspect. HEX is just a smart contract. So instead of paying the inflation, Bitcoin's inflation, to the miners, HEX pays the inflation to the holders, right? And there's going to be way more holders than there are going to ever be miners, right? And so the inflation goes to you, the holder of the currency, to do what and why? Why do we want to pay you inflation to the currency? We want to pay you to buy it up off the market in the here and now, and lock it away for up to 15 years to make it more rare in the here and now, which is the supply or demand of it, makes the price go up, right? He says that it's proof of weight, not proof of work, proof of weight to defend the price. I call HEX mining equipment, right? I just say that because I want to talk to these miners, because if you wanted to say go mine Bitcoin, or you go mine a cryptocurrency, you're going to spend all this money on equipment, and the asset, if you'd have just bought and held the asset, you would have made more money, like historically in crypto.
Maybe that's good.
So here's CoinMarketCap,
Right.
And there's no HEX. There's no HEX. All the way down, they're the first 100. I think you got to go to page 3,
Wow.
right? And HEX is right here,
Wow.
right? But as a market cap, it says that HEX is a $55 billion market cap. So that would put it the number 3 cryptocurrency in the world.
But why is it?
Because CoinMarketCap is bought by Binance Exchange. They're held by an exchange, and it's a conflict of interest to lie about what HEX really is. HEX is a triple audited smart contract, audited 3 times, 2 for security and 1 for economics. Was the fairest launch cryptocurrency I've ever seen, with 350 days that's open for anyone who wants to send Ethereum to the adoption amplifier to get HEX for 350 days. This is the fairest launch. They called it a scam from day 1. And I knew what it was from day 1 because I had been studying and understanding what crypto is. This thing is completely decentralized. It's one of the only cryptocurrencies that I've ever heard of that's actually finished. It's complete. There's no roadmap. They would come in. There's like, oh, where's the roadmap? Where's the white paper? It doesn't have a white paper. It has a user's manual because it's a finished product and it's never changing. It's locked and immutable on the Ethereum network. So. And CoinMarketCap wants to put it on page 3 and completely just, I'm blocked on Twitter by CoinMarket. They blocked me because I talk so much crap about it.
So if you were to look
That's a good thing.
So I couldn't find it on Coinbase.
Yeah, so
Right.
how do you trade it?
Coinbase, Coinbase is only allowing you to buy and sell certain cryptocurrencies, right? Not all.
Finances too.
Right, and there's like 10,000 different ones, but they don't, and Binance hasn't listed HEX yet, and Coinbase hasn't listed HEX, so where do you buy it? Like, it's interesting because the way that you buy HEX is in the future, it will be how we buy and trade all these things, because there's a piece of code called Uniswap that also lives on Ethereum that is decentralized trading. And it's an absolute revolution. And I want to say 95% of all of HEX's trading for its entire life has taken place through Uniswap, through this code, which means that it happens on chain. This concept of on chain means that it was put into the blockchain. So, and it costs money to do that. And it costs $20, $30 to buy HEX, right? Whereas you're used to, trading in and out of things for cheap on a centralized exchange, right? But the benefit of buying things on, let's say, this is what the exchange looks like. There's no sign up, okay? There's no KYC, AML, none of that. It can see your wallet, right? And read your wallet. And I don't want to sell Ethereum. I want to sell USDC. Right, for HEX, which is Coinbase's stable coin. You guys are familiar with that, right?
Yeah.
And let's just do the max real quick. And so this is the live market price for HEX in this market. And from there, we can go swap, confirm swap, and then it's going to it's going to create the transaction, send it to the wallet, right? And it's going to say, well, right now the going rate is $45 worth of Ethereum. Oh, sorry, $51 worth of Ethereum. It adjusts live in real time. And if I hit confirm, it would execute this transaction. It would pull money out of my wallet, the amount, and it would put that amount in the live thing. So that is an absolute revolution. That is decentralized trading.
And so the money here would go in your wallet.
Yeah. So you create a wallet. This is.
You're not on any exchange. You're not using Coinbase.
I use Coinbase. I get paid with Coinbase. So when I sell, let's say $1,000 worth of HEX was my last sell. I sold $1,000 worth of HEX and USDC, right? And I sent that to my Coinbase account, and for zero fees, I'm talking not a penny.
Whoa.
I sold the USDC for real dollars, right? Legacy finance dollars, and then had that deposited into my bank account within 24 hours. And so that's why I use Coinbase. But Binance can't do that for me. And Binance is a centralized exchange. It's kind of shady. They came out of nowhere. And Binance Smart Chain is a network like Ethereum's, but it's a proof of stake network, and it's way more faster, cheaper, and efficient than Ethereum, and it's eating Ethereum's lunch right now. The problem is that I don't feel comfortable doing, I don't trust that that's not backdoored. I don't trust that that's sufficiently decentralized. That's an exchange. Like, cryptocurrency was designed to get rid of middlemen. Cryptocurrency was designed so that everyone's empowered and we don't have to trust anyone, namely a crypto exchange. So the Binance Smart Chain, so Ethereum is that, but it's the first of its kind. It's the Ford Model T. That's me. I'm like the Model T maximalist, and I'm talking to these people and I'm a picture of Darwin, Charles Darwin, and I'm like, yo, things evolve. Like, here it is, and now it starts to reiterate and evolve. Because Richard Hart doesn't like to recreate the wheel, right? He doesn't like to start from scratch and battle test things that have never been done before. He's going to say, if it works, we're going to use it, and we're going to implement it. If it's open source, we can use it. So that's what he's doing with Pulse. That's what he did with Bitcoin. He looked around the space for 11 years. He was into it. He was in the community. He was helping fight the good fight for Bitcoin and all that. And he saw this community just evolve into complete chaos, and nothing's getting done. And there's no innovation on Bitcoin. It's not evolving. Like, the founder of Ethereum wanted to put smart contracts on Bitcoin. He couldn't, right? And so what he did is looked at all the lessons learned, all the low-hanging fruit, all the different things, and just packed it into a reiteration of Bitcoin. And that's what HEX is. When I got where Richard Hart was coming from, it took a while. Once I got his ideas right in my mind, I feel like I'm at the A1 apex, light years ahead of most people that are in crypto. He sees things from first principles, like that's what's baked into HEX is holding. Like people don't understand finance and money, don't understand the power of holding. Power of holding is if you held Bitcoin from $1 to $65,000, that's the power of holding.
Right.
The power of dollar cost averaging combined with saving, right? If you're saving and you're dollar cost averaging, you don't have to all in. You don't have to sell your house and your credit cards and max out your credit cards to get into this thing. You could take your time to buy the dips and average into a market. That's the power of dollar cost averaging. And the third thing that he combines with this, when you stake out a ladder, a CD ladder, which is a 100-year-old product at the bank, that's a tried and true kind of thing, we all understand it, is getting paid in cryptocurrency. Because when you stake HEX, you're getting paid every single day in cryptocurrency. Matter of fact, if you stake a 15-year ladder, you're paying you today, tomorrow, and 15 years from now, every single day in the next Bitcoin.
Whoa.
That's my opinion.
So you're saying HEX is the next Bitcoin.
So right now, the HEX, I know a lot of the coins have communities.
Yep.
So the HEX community and the Bitcoin community are totally
two different things.
At odds.
They're not at odds.
Well, if HEX is saying we're going to be the new you.
Well, they're marred in a philosophy called maximalism. They're marred in a philosophy. They think that you're absolutely insane to own any other asset, let alone cryptocurrency, other than Bitcoin.
Right.
And they're called toxic maximalists, or they're called maximalists. There's all this thing, and it's so sad. It seems like it seems like a psyops operation.
Right.
Like how can you not see what's going on here?
Right.
Like they buy and they hold. What do they hold for? They buy and they hold so miners can dump on their head. That's it. Because miners don't buy Bitcoin. They sell Bitcoin. That's it. The whole thing is set up. We're talking millions of dollars a day of electricity that has to get dumped on the market to pay for that electricity to secure this network.
Right.
And that's all that's happening. There's no innovation. The community's completely fractured and shattered. There's the Bitcoin Cash community I like way more, which is a fork of Bitcoin. I like it because they said, we're going to be peer-to-peer cash. It's going to cost a penny to send this anywhere in the world. And the people who are in charge of Bitcoin itself said, no. It's not going to be that. It's going to be expensive to send. And we're going to make it $20, $30 to send. Why? Like, how is that? Why is that beneficial? I don't understand that fundamentally. Why can't it be peer-to-peer cash? I don't know. But that's their community.
So is HEX going to, would kind of look at Bitcoin as digital gold? People,
21 million, yeah.
People are not using it. They're holding it. They're buying it and holding it. They're not using it for transactions.
Yeah, it's a store value.
As much as, you can buy a Tesla maybe, I don't know if that's still, or a few other things, and there's the old story about somebody who bought a pizza years ago.
Yes.
But so is HEX something that's going to be,
currency.
When you say it's going to take over for Bitcoin, is it going to take over as a new digital gold, or is it going to be used as currency?
Well, it can do both, but Richard Hart understands like the velocity of money. Does like the more velocity, the more that it's getting bought and sell, the more it's getting used. That's not good for the price. What's good for the price is low velocity, right? And so people like to talk about HEX and they say like, well, there's not doing any volume. Yeah, that's because the thing pays you to buy it and then lock it away. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And so the lower the velocity of money, it generally is good for the price. Like you're just buying and holding it, buying it up off the market. I see the ideas that are leveraged into the code. I can kind of like visualize them abstractly. And that's why I'm so confident about it being the next Bitcoin. It's not because the community says it. It's because I'm like, I see like all these ideas stacked up and then leveraged in the most efficient way that I could ever possibly imagine to do it. And I can just show you what the result of that is. just by like letting you see
Who created it?
Richard Hart.
Oh, he created it. Oh, okay.
He created Hex.
All right.
So
So when you bought it, like I said, it was at 0.000, right?
yeah, let me show you. So this is the chart for Hex's whole life. Let's see. It started here. This is probably December 15th. It really launched on the 2nd of December, right? But this is the date price.
2019?
19, yes. And this is, and so, and then by 4 January, something like that, the price was 0.00006, something like that.
Oh my God.
And so I was averaging in through December, January, and February, just the Bitcoin kind of thing, just socking it away. And by this time, I understood that you got to buy, you got to hold. Mm-hmm. Trading is dangerous. Like most traders lose their money, and you just want to buy and hold. And this pays you to lock it up, so you can't sell. Like he sees what everyone did in Bitcoin in the early days, where the price was at $1, you got it at $1, it goes to $100, you didn't sell. That's the most wildest, you got 100x. This is the wildest, craziest trade you ever made before in your life. You didn't sell. Everybody sold because they didn't understand the power of holding. They didn't understand the power of saving. And they didn't have the foresight to see what Bitcoin just did. Like we have the foresight to see what Ethereum is about to do, calling it the internet of money.
You're bullish on Ethereum.
I am. Okay. Well, I'm bullish on these networks. Mm-hmm. I'm bullish on the networks because it's the networks that are the most powerful thing, right? It's the Facebook is a network. Amazon is a network. Twitter is a network. It's the thing, right? It's the apparatus, it's built, and then everyone in the world can plug into it and use it simultaneously, and it provides value to everyone all at once. I feel like that's why these things are so valuable. So, as long as Binance Smart Chain stays up and it's a functioning blockchain where people can communicate value and engage in smart contracts like freely, have at it, Right. And I don't want to, because I don't want to denigrate any of them. I think that we need all of them. We need Ethereum. I want Bitcoin to do well. I want to own a Bitcoin. I want to own it. 21 million, I'm going to own just one. I'm going to own at least one kind of thing. But I see the ideas at work in Hex, and this is why I'm so, and plus it's made me so much money.
Right. So that's my point. You bought it at 0.0, and now it's at what, 20 cents, 25? I can't.
33 cents.
33 cents.
Yeah,
so
it's a high of, it was a high of, I think 48 cents.
Okay.
Sustained.
So I know this. So to someone who's not invested in it, mm-hmm. I would say it's already had its massive move.
Right.
So, but you think this is like the beginning?
I would to that is a good point, but I would say that people bought a $65,000 Bitcoin and it doesn't pay you to hold it.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It doesn't pay you to lock it up, and the other thing that I'm saying, like I have a video here that is where is it? No, I want to see channel. This is a strategy. It's about 13 minutes long. It's my strategy. It's pre-viral. Crypto still thinks it's a scam. It doesn't consider it a legitimate project. And okay. there's not a single reason why other than, you know what FUD is.
Yes.
Fear, uncertainty, and doubt. And it's a propaganda tactic that is used. And that's what they do. They call something a scam. They don't want you to look into it. They do it. So that's what they did. And even my heroes at the time, I'm sitting here with all in, I went all in, and then here comes Andreas Antonopoulos. You ever heard of him? He's a crypto guy. He does really good.
I have heard of him.
Yeah, he gives 20-minute speeches. They're about 20-minute long, like speeches on different angles mm-hmm. of how crypto is revolutionary. And his speeches alone are how I saw Hex coming from a mile away. Because it talks about the nature of what is decentralized, what is decentralization, what is peer-to-peer currency, what does this mean to the planet in this 10,000-year-old history of money that we've been having as a species, and what is money, and what's the problem, and what does it mean that there's a new currency, a global currency in the world, internet money, Bitcoin, and so yeah.
So where do you see this in 5 years?
Where I see it in 5 years, I think that once it comes into focus for the cryptocurrency community, it's going to freak out. It's going to do what Ethereum did. It's going to do what Bitcoin did.
How many, you're buying a coin, Hex coin, how many are out there?
Yeah.
What's the supply?
I'll show you. This just reads the blockchain, right? So right now there's a minted supply, there's total minted supply of 635 billion hex, right? And there's 62 billion hex that's locked, that's currently staked. And there's 572 billion hex that is not locked.
So that's why the market cap is so high, because there's...
Yes, because when the staked hex, because it's circulating supply, right? And so if hex is locked, by definition, it's literally burned. It doesn't sit anywhere.
It's deflationary. Hex is deflationary.
No, it's inflationary.
Oh, it is. But that means coins being created all the time.
Every single day.
Like Doge is inflationary.
Yeah, it's inflationary. But here's the thing: if you're the coin holder,
right,
you should only be worried about inflation if you're the holder of that asset, right? But if you're the one who gets paid that inflation because you're staked, so stakers get paid the inflation, right? So it's a profit center to the person who believes in the asset and stakes it, right? Because the only way to create hex is to stake it.
So you look at the monetary advantages being more collecting to stake it as opposed to price appreciation.
Well, you get paid in two ways, because it does appreciate in price. The hex that I got paid yesterday, even though I can't access it because it's locked away, it's distributed in the stakes. The price went up today, so that
could also go down. Tomorrow could be at 20 tomorrow.
Yeah. So, but you're paid in two ways: through a price appreciation, and you're also paid through inflation. But
if it went down to 20, that's price depreciation then.
Sure.
On your position.
Cost averaging.
But it is. That's the nature of crypto.
That's a large supply.
It is. It's a large supply, and it's like, and the question to ask is, who in their right mind is not staking 90% of the hex, and how who does one person control that? And I'm here to tell you that Richard Hart probably controls at least 50%, if not more, of the supply. Because I watched through the launch, money buying up the amount of hex that became available every single day in the pool. But it was interesting. What happened was it would buy up so that everyone who bought in that day would get basically the same rate that they got if they were to just buy it in the exchange every single day that you got. And it was kind of like that. So what it made the hex adoption for the first year, 350 days of hex's life, it was creating 500 million hex a day. And you could put an Ethereum in the pool. And if you were the only person who put Ethereum in the pool, you got that pool. You see what I'm saying? If you're 1% of the Ethereum, you got 1% of the hex that was available to give every single day for 350 days, right? And so at the end of the day, there would be large amounts of Ethereum to buy up the hex in the pool to keep the person who entered the pool from getting cheap hex and dumping it on the market. So that hex could get its first year, it could get price discovery in the market on the decentralized exchange for the first year. And the person who bought all that hex up for the first year, it seems like, is the one who's not staking. Because there's a pool. If 100% of the hex is locked up in the pool, the average length stake will get paid 3.69% a year on their stakes, right? So now that only 10% of the hex is locked up in the pool, 3.69% of the total supply of hex is getting paid to that pool every year, right? So now to lock up hex for 1 year, I think is paying 13%. And to lock it up for 5 years is paying 22% per year. And to lock it up for 10 years is paying 32%. And I can show that to you. I can show you how that works. We can go here.
So Richard Hart's a developer, and there's a team around him, or is he?
Nope. He's an eccentric multimillionaire genius that retired when he was 23 years old, and went traveling the world doing the thing. Got addicted to video games, and did all that. And then finally he found crypto, and that's where he spent a lot of his time. But he's a genius at business, and I can vouch for that from what I've seen in the past year and a half. He's a genius at marketing, and I can vouch for that. He's a genius at tech in general, tech stuff in general, and I can vouch for that. He's a genius at cryptocurrencies, economics, and finance. He's got all of that above and beyond everyone's head. I say that he's like John Maynard Keynes standing on Warren Buffett's shoulders. Elon Musk is Einstein standing on Einstein's shoulders. Richard Hart is John Maynard Keynes standing on Warren Buffett's shoulders. That's the.
So what happens if he is no longer involved? Suppose he dies?
Yeah. So Hex's code is not open source, which means that everyone can just copy it and change it and do that. But it is open so that everyone can see what's in the code, and you can see that there are no backdoors. There's no admin keys. This is a complete financial system that's locked and immutable, can never change. No one can go in and say, you know what, 3.69% is a little low. Let's kick it up to 5 or 6. That can't happen with this contract. It's locked, it's immutable, and it lives forever on the Ethereum blockchain. So if he dies, if someone got a hold of the HEX that he controls, they could sell it on the market, which would be bad for the price, or they could stake it, which would probably be bad for like the people in the pool. But it wouldn't, like everyone.
How old is he?
42.
Oh, he's young.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Wow. I gotta look him up.
Yeah.
I can't believe I never heard of him.
Yeah, like they do this thing called ghosting, right? Apart from the FUD, you know, they ghost people. Where it's like, if that's...
I haven't even heard his name.
Right.
But he can still be the next Bitcoin even if he's not involved anymore.
Right.
He decides to go off and
because
do something else.
Yeah, because just like Satoshi Nakamoto, the founder of Bitcoin, the anonymous guy, we don't know who he is or anything like that. Like, he hasn't been in the picture since 2010 or something like that. And so he's gone.
Right.
You know, and we don't know. He has no contribution to it. He's not the CEO, he's a founder, and now he's a community member. Right? He's a member of the community, and he's probably looking out for the best interest of the community and trying to nurture the thing that he built in the best way possible. When he built Hex, he started with this group chat in Telegram that now has, I think, 35 or 40,000 members in it. But this group chat goes all the way back to the beginning of Hex. Wow. You can scroll all the way up, right? And you can see Richard Hart developing and asking the communities. He's getting consensus. Consensus is a big word in cryptocurrency, because in order to change anything in the Bitcoin network, you would need the miners to generate consensus. Right. What the Bitcoin network generates is consensus that your Bitcoin is on your wallet, your Bitcoin is on your wallet, everyone's Bitcoin is where it is, and we can't double spend. The network generates consensus. That's the breakthrough that put blockchain, that allowed this to be the people's internet money and create this revolution. So he's in this community, building a community from scratch and building a project together with the community to generate consensus. Unlike Bitcoin, where Satoshi Nakamoto had to make all these decisions because the crypto space didn't exist.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so he had to make really, really hard decisions that are contentious now, that we're living with these decisions with Bitcoin. And it's like the Ford Model T. My thing is like, I need a racing suspension, ABS brakes or whatever, and airbags installed in my Ford Model T, but don't touch the frame because you don't have consensus for that, right? It's like, you don't have, like, nobody's gonna let you change anything about this system. So, but he generated a community. It's a thriving community. It's 36,000 members. It's a thriving community. It's exploding on Twitter. It's exploding on TikTok. It's exploding on YouTube, all simultaneously.
The FUD towards Hex is coming from where?
The FUD is coming from the institutions in cryptocurrency that are polluting the space, because they are making all the money off of trading fees and just basically gambling. Like, it's not. Is
it coming from the exchanges?
Yes, it's coming. Like, all of the people on YouTube. It's like, hey, we're gonna get to some content first, but before that, let me show you my chart. We'll do some technical analysis. We'll say we'll prime you for trading. Mm-hmm. If you like this, click the affiliate link below and sign up to this or that exchange. Right. And instead of using this moment to understand what is going on with this whole conversation of money, why don't we get you into our exchange, aka casino, and trade, right? And I don't like that. Those aren't. That's not really what's happening. There's trading, and then there's gambling. But the way that this is treated, the way that I see what's going on, and the way I see people squandering, they're not serious about this moment, which is how you get to backwards philosophies like maximalism. I want you guys to think about the ladder, what a ladder is, what HEX is asking you to do, what HEX is getting you to think about, right? And then going forward, instead of like all in, selling your home and maxing out your credit cards, you take an initial investment, whatever that's going to be, and let's say it's $1,500. This is the thing. And so I buy $1,500 worth of HEX, I divide it by 15, and I stake 1/15 of it every single year for the next 15 years. Now I just created a 15-year CD ladder, right? This is the price point that I got in at. This is the rate that I locked in when I staked the HEX. And going forward, now I'm getting paid once a year in HEX. Right? Every year I'm coming into a stakes undo. Now, as a savings opportunity, let's say once a month I have $100 to buy HEX, and I can stake it for 15 years. I can stake it for 1 year. I can stake it for 14 years, 2, 13, 12, and fill the ladder in so that now I'm getting paid twice a year in HEX. And I keep saving like that until I'm getting paid 3 times a year and 4 times a year. Right? So now you're thinking about a CD ladder. Now that's one way to like have your cake and eat it too. By the end of it, because what we can see here is we can see people, let's end of stake. So this is 2.6 million HEX that locked up for 6 days, right? And the payout was 4,868 HEX, which is $1,200. To take your principal and lock it away for 6 days pays $1,279 in HEX, right? So what you're doing at the end of as you do this, what you want to think about doing is using your principal to stake it for a month or 6 months and live off of the passive income that it generates, that your principal generates. That's the end game, right? So I start the video with, this is the end game. Like you want to create, you want to be able to live off the principal that's generated by your HEX, and then this is how you do it. Because year 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 ain't gonna do it for you. But you're also that's a trip, that's a car, that's a down payment on a house. That's year 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. They've been cooking in this pool and getting paid for 5, 6, 7 years now. Now when they come due, we don't need to sell them. I can stake that for 6 months and just sell the interest. And then next year, and then next year, and then next year. And now if you had $1 million, right? And you bought HEX with it, and you staked it for 1 year, the value of $1 million worth of HEX, it would generate $130,000 worth of interest for you because it's paying 13%. In HEX terms, we're not talking about price appreciation. We're just talking about the interest that it pays you, right? So, and I can show you that. So here's 100,000 HEX, right? And let's do 365 days. That's what we're locking it away for, right? The longer pays better bonus kicks in 20,000 HEX. Now it doesn't give you 20,000 HEX. It's you're entering a pool that gets paid, right? And it's saying that you're entering this pool with 120,000 HEX instead of 100, right? Then it divides by the share rate, right? And this share rate is interesting because it only goes up. But this is the rate that today everyone has to pay to abide by to get into the pool. I don't care if you're the Pope. I don't care if you're the president. Everyone in the world who stakes HEX today has to stake at this rate, which is 19,029 HEX per T-share, right? So it just takes your 130 HEX and it divides it by 120,000 HEX and divides it by this rate. And this is how many shares, T-shares, trillion shares, Terra shares that you're locking into the share pool, right? Now, what does HEX pay per T-share per day? It pays, we can go here, and this is every single day of HEX's life. We're on day 686. Yesterday it paid 63 million HEX to a pool of 11 million T-shares at a rate of 5.77 HEX per T-share. So we come back here and we go, oops, no. And we're gonna go to calculator and we go 6.306 T-shares, right? Times 5.7 hex per T-share times 365 days is 13,119 hex, which is 13.1% of 100,000, 13.1% in 1 year. And we can do this for, let's do this for 5 years, 1825 days. Notice that now the principal, the longer pays better bonus that kicks in is 100,000 hex. So the principal, the effective, because it's 20% more on your principal for every year that you lock up for 10 years, for up to 10 years. You can lock up for 15, and the benefit there is that you get to hold on to that rate for an extra 5 years, right? As this continues to go up forever, this rate will go up forever. The reason why the United States of America is a legitimate power in the world is because power is decentralized. That's one of the main reasons. We've got the president, we've got the Supreme Court, right? We've got the House and the Senate, right? And then we've got 50 states. We got 50 governors, we got 50 state legislatures, state House, state Senate, 50 state Supreme Courts, and then all the institutions around it. That is power stratified, basically. It is just all the way down to the grassroots community level. It's kind of hard to seize that, right? Which is why we've endured at the level. We've grown so fast for 250 years of this rip-roaring, incredible run that the country's had. But it's because power is decentralized. Bitcoin is decentralized. Bitcoin, that you can double-click an EXE and run this node no matter what country you're in, no matter every single border, every nation on the planet is you know, that's the same thing for Ethereum. It's going to be very, very hard to take these networks down. The internet has to come down. So in my mind, I'm like, all right, so we're either going back to the cave or we're not.
Right.
And at that point, like, do you want to hold gold? If you're holding gold, in a lot of ways, like, you're preparing to go back to the cave. You're preparing for the internet to go down. You're preparing to have to, you know, like, just rough it. We're going back to straight up barter situation. The governments fail, you know, all this stuff. So I'm just like, I gotta hedge. I gotta hedge in the other direction.
I agree.
I had to wrestle with that, and that's the solution that I came up. That's the hedge and the solution that
you
my
want to make
mind
sure
came
you're
up
on
to.
the right horse.
Yeah, and I also want to diversify. I don't want to be 99.9% in crypto. I don't think that's healthy. I think that's just like, look, what if my seed phrase gets stolen? You know, like, what if I get hacked? There's a million other things that could go wrong other than the internet coming down. We're moving back into the cave.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So,
But
yeah.
that scenario is perfect for young investors. Like,
It taught me how to save. It taught me about markets. It taught me about finance. It taught me so much that is abstract that you will never ever get unless you sit there and think about it and look at it for a long enough time. How value moves in and out of things. And these people on Wall Street have access to these markets, and they have a better sense of what value is than the rest of us. And they have the access, which means they get to identify the thing that's valuable before the rest of the world gets to understand.
That's called an edge.
It's centralized control, where the institutions are now doing more for themselves than the benefit that they served the broader community.
Bitcoin's got a big boost in crypto from them printing all this money.
Yeah.
You know, all these ballots and everything. So people are looking at, well, this is simple stuff, but you know, the money I have is being devalued every day.
Yeah.
Where if I have a set amount that can't be
savers is money. The meat and potatoes and the substance of the backbone of a community. The people who go, we are going to do the smart thing, the healthy thing, and take our money and save it. They're the ones who are getting stolen from.
Absolutely, but here's the toughest thing to tell people. And believe me, like I said, my tiptoes are in the water, right? So I'm not a guy out there preaching it, but when I do preach it, or I try to explain it on a simple level, like I understand it, everybody, well, who backs it?
Right.
Everybody says, who backs it? What happens? I mean, what the government doesn't?
I got an answer for you.
Yeah.
All money is backed by faith. It's a shared hallucination. A hallucination where I take $20 out and I pay you for something, and then you have this hallucination, faith. You have faith that when you take it to the gas station for gas or for whatever, and the person behind the thing, they're going to accept it too.
Right.
All money is backed by faith. Now the dollar, you could say, is probably backed by a little bit of oil and maybe some government. The other thing that it's backed by, crypto, is backed by code. And this is a really interesting concept because code is law now, all right? Now, think about this, wrap your mind around this. We have laws in the here and now, right? They get passed down at the state level, the federal level, or whatever, but we can break those laws. Like, it can get lawless in here right now, right? And that's backed by a judicial system that will punish you for crimes. The laws that cryptocurrency offers we opt into them. That's the other thing. We don't opt into these laws. Like, so it's through citizenship reform. Like, we can't really. Well, I don't like this law. The laws of cryptocurrency we opt into, right, freely, but we can't break them. We can't go, it's more than 22 million. Like, I don't like the inflation rate of HEX. So code is law, and we get to opt into freely these contracts, which, here's another, absolute zinger. The Constitution is just a contract. The Constitution of the United States of America is the world's first smart contract. And it uses time to adjust, because you have power right now.
Right.
But come Tuesday, November, whatever, like that goes away. The contract shifts. Like, it's nothing really happens, but everyone understands that, you don't have power. All at once, everyone understands that this contract has expired, and your power, your time, elected time in office is gone, right? And so it's the world's first smart contract, right? So the way this is like rhyming, the way all this is run with decentralized nature, like smart contracts, and how money is and how it's backed by code is law. These things that I've been thinking about for a long time. I'm like, we are really either going back into the cave, or this is or Ethereum and these networks that provide this. But that's the internet of money.